in a world that is run by central banks, and you consider that the money can be printed at any time, no democratic process, it is just literally arbitrarily, we don't even know actually the criteria. We don't know. There's something like 7 governors of the Federal Reserve. We know who they are, but we don't know who the shareholders are. You don't really know who owns the bank. If you don't know who owns the bank, you don't really know who runs the bank. These are closed door meetings, so we don't know the criteria by which they're deciding when to print money. We don't know even the dividend that they're receiving for the printing of money. We don't know the seigniorage, which is like the difference in the face value of the production and the cost of actual production. We don't know how much they're stealing on that. And we don't know how many US dollars are in existence. We don't know how many will come into existence. We don't know how many are going out of existence. We get data published, but it's changing all the time. It can't be audited. The Fed's never been audited. So it's just a black box, basically, right? It's just totally opaque, corrupt nonsense. And I tweeted this the other day. The Fed is trust me, bro. Basically. And Bitcoin is trust math. So it's like, that's the dichotomy, essentially. So if money is 1/2 of every transaction, and money can be printed arbitrarily at any time for any reason to violate the private property of savers, then the money itself is inherently socialistic, right? Socialism is built directly into the money because it can aggress against the private property of savers at any time for any reason without any explanation or justification whatsoever. So if money is 1/2 of every transaction, then out of the gate, you are at best 50% socialist. Right? The money can even be deauthorized, by the way. They don't even need to print it. We saw like India did with a 500 rupee banknote. They just turn it off overnight. They just say, this is no longer a bill. They just beep, it's off. The central bank can do that with anything. So you think you've got cash under the mattress and you're safe, you're a fucking fool. Not only can they inflate it, but they can also just turn it off. Or they can just suspend physical cash. They just say, we don't take physical bills anymore. So out of the gate, you're 50% socialist if 1/2 of every transaction is money and that money is designed to steal from you, basically. So when you hear people talk about late stage capitalism, it's nonsense. We can't possibly be more than 50% capitalist because the money is 100% socialist and it's 1/2 of every trade. So, and the reality is obviously once you monopolize money in that way, other industries close to the money spigot start to become more socialized, right? Healthcare, insurance, banking. These are not free market institutions, right? These are areas, specifically in finance, where you have too big to fail. Too big to fail is not capitalist. Too big to fail says the political power has decided that stolen proceeds will be funneled into these organizations to keep them alive, no matter the level of economic losses they produce. Whereas a purely capitalistic world would say, if it's producing losses, then that's a signal that the capital inside of that organization or organizations can be put to higher and better use elsewhere. So we're interrupting the adaptive signal of the market economy itself by politicizing and socializing the money in this way. And so we're not in late stage capitalism, we're in late stage central banking. Which is another way of saying late stage monetary socialism. So for the people that really want to understand all of this shit, the best metaphor to compress it down into is look at it in terms of private property. This is the most fundamental this is the essence, this is the unifying principle of civilization itself. All you want to know is that you can go into the world, delay your gratification, earn more than you spend, and save that residual in something that can't be compromised or stolen, right? That you have a relationship between the assets you create that cannot be violated. This is the essence of civilization. This is why we don't have to kill each other over every sandwich, right? We can handle disputes non-violently via the rule of law or via a bid-ask process in the marketplace, and we can allocate scarce resources in a peaceful way via private property. When you start to violate the principle of private property, you go into the domain of force and violence. And this is the situation, right? So if you want people to really understand this, you have to build your arguments on the foundation, the unshakable foundation of private property, and look at things in the world in terms of private property. Is this reinforcing private property? Is this attacking private property? And that is justice. That is the essence of justice. If justice is people getting what they deserve or not getting what they don't deserve, private property is people keeping what they earn and not getting what they didn't earn. This is the essence of justice itself. So if you want to understand how the world needs to be organized, you have to look at it through the lens of private property.